Now is the time for us to stand up. Together. As one.
Stand down, Megatron! Autobots,
transform and roll out!
Hello buddy and welcome, I'm Comodin Cam, and today we're going to be ranking every Optimus Prime design from worst to best.
all the slamming shorties in the house say yeah.
This video couldn't come out at a better time with Transformers 1 just around the corner, so let's celebrate this character by looking at every design throughout his history. What I think is so great about Optimus Prime's design is that it can transform and change shape and still remain somewhat consistent. As long as he's red and blue and he has fins, it's Prime. Oh, and window boobies. Unless if you're Age of Extinction Optimus where it's just boobies.
Amazing boobies.
And we have a lot of Primes, too many in fact, where I won't be able to cover every single one.
He's pissed. You lied to us.
Okay, hear me out guys, I will be covering every mainline Optimus Prime and even the hidden obscure ones. Like I will be talking about the cartoons, the movies, the video games, comic books, and even the toys. But not every toy. Covering some of them would be redundant, especially if there's no changes in the design. Like, I'll only talk about certain repaints. Because are you serious? If I did that, this video would be like 10 hours long. And I have a life, I think. As you can imagine, this video took a long time to make, so if you enjoy, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and let me know your favourite Prime design below.
Don't tell us about it, just do it.
So without further ado, let's dive straight into the tier names, and first up, of course, had to be...
Until that day, till all are one.
Basically, the best Prime. Now for the second tier, we'll have a quote from the first live-action movie.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
Where I like it, it's a decent Prime, but it's not the best. Now for the middle tier, where I kind of like it, but then I don't at the same time.
I remember the time on Cybertron. Save the war stories, hotshot. Just remember, there's a thin line between being a hero and being a memory.
Now for the second lowest tier.
Optimus, you want to see something funny?
No.
Where we think it's funny, but Optimus couldn't care less. And now finally, for the bottom tier, it just had to be...
We will kill them all.
This is where Bayverse comes in. Now let's start off where it all began with the 1984 toy. Thank God Hasbro imported this from the Diaclone line and made it the heroic Autobot leader that we all know today. And they didn't even know that they were making history. And I'm so thrilled that 40 years later, this toy has come back with the missing link line. I own it in its cartoon colours, and yes, the posability was limited back in 1984, but still, regardless, 40 years later, we've got that posability, and the figure is still as cool as it was back then. Like most G1 toys that were translated for the cartoon, some of them were radically changed, but Optimus Prime is pretty much all there, except for the eye colour and a few sticker details. But the cartoon, to me, it is the definitive Optimus Prime. And the same can be said for the Marvel Comics. We need more Primes like him playing basketball. I didn't think this design would look so badass though with Megatron's arm cannon on it. I'm only going to include it because I'm really enjoying the comics so far. Now I just want to say this now before we move forward, I am a big fan of Blue Eyes Optimus Prime. I do like yellow eyes on certain designs, but not always, and I think with G1, blue is superior. But what isn't superior is the Ghostbusters Optimus Prime. He looks like he's sick. But I guess it's 10 times better than the abomination of Alligator Optimus Prime.
This alligator is big and heavy.
From the looks of it, I'd say a little of both.
But is it as traumatic as seeing G1 Optimus with a mouth?
Yes.
G1 Prime will never look good with a mouth.
How am I supposed to eat without a mouth?
G1 Prime has received 3 great masterpiece toys, but for me personally, I actually prefer the third-party Magic Square toy.
Let him in. But he's obviously a Decepticon imposter.
You can't get more cartoon accurate than that. In 1998, with Hasbro realizing their mistake in killing off Optimus Prime, they brought him back with a brand new body, the Power Master, which I don't like. He's as bulk as Bulkhead. Don't get me wrong, I do like Prime with a little bit of a chunk, but for me, this isn't it. It was too little, too late. But at least this design got some justice with the Transformers Generations leader Power Master Optimus Prime for the Titan's Return. While still not my favourite, it's a step up for sure. But we've got to step down again for the Action Master Optimus Prime. Dude looks like he's cosplaying.
You are told to stay hidden.
In 1991, the Japanese continuity decided to bring Prime back once again with the return of Convoy, and this looks 10 times better than the Power Master. Yes, the toy is still kind of less to be desired, but the artwork is phenomenal. I really like how this looks, and you can see the inspiration of Transformers Animated with its headlights. Now, filming for these videos is no easy task, so thank God I have Optimus Prime as a camera. Yeah, you thought I was going to do a sponsor then, didn't you? If it doesn't function as a camera, then what's the point? The reflectors are looking pretty good right about now. Anything's better than the Mickey Mouse Optimus Prime.
It's impossible.
Moving on to Generation 2, and in a radical design change, I think both of these designs are really cool. I'm not a fan of Laser Optimus Prime having his name on his windows, and as for Hero Optimus Prime, well, at least he can rap.
It's heavy metal cruncher time as Optimus Prime goes toe-to-toe with Combat Megatron. Prime is one tough dude underneath his hood. He's a Transformer missile fire phenomenon. Combat.
For the last of Generation 2, we have the GoBot Optimus Prime, and then we have Laser Optimus Prime. A great homage to that G2 design, but as for the GoBot...
Junk! That's what you are! Junk!
Now let's talk about Beast Wars Optimus Prime. Before they radically changed it to the Beast Wars that we all know today, the Optimus Prime that we knew in Generation 1 was going to evolve into a bat. I'm torn on this because the artwork is so much better than the toy. I do like it, but just not as Prime. They tried to make it work with its traditional colour scheme, but it looks gross. I think the artwork saved his life. Now let's move on to 2001's Robots in Disguise cartoon, where we have Optimus Prime as a fire truck. When I was younger, I was quite dismissive of this series, but it's slowly become one of my favourites and truly an underrated gem. And the same can be said for Optimus Prime's design. While he looks fine by himself, there's no denying that he looks 10 times better in his super modes. First we have Combat Mode, which just beefs him up, and then we have the Omega Mode, where he's combined with Ultra Magnus. Out of all of these designs, I much prefer his Combat Mode.
Ruination!
Despite never owning the original toy, I'm fully aware of how fun this thing is to play with. All the more reason why I was so excited that it was backed up through the HasLab Legacy line. From 2001 to being released next year in 2025, this Optimus Prime has come a long way. What really adds to this is the great voice performance by Neil Kaplan. Such an underrated voice for Optimus Prime.
Cobalt ocean roils. Zephyrs blow cold and another hapless foe is crushed beneath my heel. It's a vision of the future, the very near future.
You might do better with limericks.
Huh?
Your imagery is derivative. It lacks semiotic cohesion. And the hapless foe is you.
If you haven't already, give Robots in Disguise a chance. It's actually pretty good. What's not pretty good though is the universe version. Just looks like a lemon. The next series, Armada, would pay homage to the RID design as Optimus Prime's Cybertronian mode. It's a shame we never saw his alternate mode, but I can't imagine there being one. Moving on to his Earth mode, and what a fresh incarnation for the character. It is so different but so recognisable as Prime. I love how the grill is integrated on the chest, and the smokestacks on his arms are just iconic. I adore the anime look, but I'm also a big fan of this design in the PS2 game. Those animated cutscenes were ahead of their time. Not ahead of their time is the Brick to Roll Optimus. Yeah, he's gonna die. Now let's talk about his super mode, which is just awesome. Yes, it's weird his feet transform into his second pair of hands, but still, it's so goddamn cool. And I'm so glad that in 2024, this toy came back. And that's how I like to display him. And yes, it kinda bugs me that his eye colour isn't red, but I'm sure I'll paint it at some point.
Humans.
His super mode comes with various add-ons, with Overload providing his shoulder cannons, which is, lackluster to say the least.
I demand satisfaction.
I wish I could accommodate you.
But the best one is without a doubt his combination with Jetfire. I seriously hope we get a Legacy Armada Jetfire. I mean, there's hints that it's coming due to Optimus Prime's chest. Please, Hasbro, I beg. At the very end of the series, Optimus got an updated colour scheme called Power Links. While I do like the colours, as I once owned the toy, I do remember being annoyed that his colours changed last minute.
Don't act surprised. This is exactly what you wanted.
But I'd rather have this than Big Footimus Optimus Prime. This is an early design idea where he would have transformed into a monster truck. Guy's just jacked up to the max. It's not the worst, but I'm so happy with what we ended up with. Moving on to the sequel series, Energon, Optimus Prime, puts on a few pounds. Yeah, he's just a block.
Anyone else?
Well, at least the built to rule was on point this time. The proportions just went out of the window here. Of course, this is all for the Power Link mode, but even that doesn't save this design. He broke all the rules when it comes to making a consistent colour scheme.
Nobody told me about any ridiculous rules.
Yeah, Prime, you're going in the no tier.
If you want to ignore my orders, then I have no choice but to send you back to your mother.
You wouldn't!
Try me.
I gotta admit, his combined mode with Omega Supreme is 10 times better.
Was that ever in doubt?
Mostly because it's just Omega Supreme with Optimus's head.
There's more where that came from.
Yeah, we catch your drift, Optimus, sir.
It feels like he's doing everything to make up for his first super mode with these other modes like the Wing Saber one, which you can have in 2 different ways, and I still couldn't tell you which one I prefer. I'm just glad that the colour scheme is better. This is probably what he should have started off with.
I hope you don't mind if I butt in.
Where the heck did the heat come from?
Talking flying fire engine?
Moving on to the final entry of the Unicron trilogy, we have Cybertron Optimus, and his super mode makes up for that terrible power links of Energon. And it's such a great toy. I remember playing with this so much as a kid, both his basic mode and his super mode. I just called him a very robust fire engine. Wing Saber returns in Cybertron to give Optimus Prime another power mode, the Sonic Wing mode, which, yeah, it looks cool, but I much prefer his regular super mode. And when it comes to his third combined form with Leo Breaker, dude just puts on a glove. This adds nothing to the design. I'm not going to count someone using the whole body as a fist as a brand new design.
What? No! Blast it, he played me like a piano!
Now moving on to Transtech, a cancelled series that was supposed to be a follow-up to the Beast Machines franchise. Despite the proportions and the style being insanely bizarre, it is somewhat appealing. Whether or not they could have pulled this off when it comes to animation is another story. I can understand why this was scrapped because Hasbro really needed to focus on car robots. I do like the vehicle modes, very similar to the High Moon games. Whether or not he was going to be Optimus Prime or Optimus Primal is unknown, but if so, he would have been our first monkey truck.
Well, that's just Prime.
Okay, now let's talk about a couple of Optimus Primes based on real cars. We have the Alternity Nissan with a GTR version with a bunch of advertising on it, and then we have a Toyota Prime. None of these are really ideal, but I will say I do kinda like the Alternity Optimus Prime just a little bit, but it's just not Optimus Prime to me. Definitely not Optimus Prime is the Alternators, also known as the Kiss Players Optimus Prime. I remember as a kid my buddy Lewis owning this, and I just wish we knew how cursed it was.
I'll kill you! Stay back! Don't shoot!
Not so cursed is the Transformers Animated Optimus Prime, my favourite. First I'll talk about his Cybertronian mode, which I absolutely adore. I was obsessed with Transformers Cybertronian modes because of this design. The art style of Derek J. White is what brought me back to the Transformers, and I absolutely adored both my Deluxe and Voyager class of Optimus Prime. And the design is as clean as it comes, there is nothing overly complicated, you know this is Prime. And I like the fact he's a fire engine, it works in the show and just pays good homage to Robots in Disguise. There is nothing to mess around with this design, it's just perfect as it is, which is why the movie-inspired look for Season 4 looks so dumb. This wasn't actually going to happen, it was just a brainstorm idea, but still, don't put flames on this Prime. Thankfully that was never official, but what was official was the Wingblade Optimus Prime. His little upgrade in the final season of the show definitely showcases the evolution of his character. God, it was so satisfying when he finally wielded the Magnus Hammer. Now if Season 4 of the show would have gone ahead, we would have had an upgraded Power Master Optimus Prime, which we can see in the Allspark Almanac, which we got to see in action in TF Nation's Trial of Megatron. We have a second Power Master, which more closely resembles Derek J. Wyatt's concepts, which was fully realised by Eric Sieberniller. To be honest, it's really hard to choose which one I prefer. I just like both. As mentioned, I'm not a big fan of the Power Master Optimus Prime, but animated here stylized it and made it better. Animated Optimus Prime was celebrated in the Legacy with a brand new Voyager toy, which, had mixed results.
Anyway, it's not important.
Nothing can top and beat the original, it's just superior. But this, going for a G1 inspired look, I mean, I'm just glad that Animated's getting some attention, to be honest. Oh, and there was that time he turned into a human.
By the Allspark.
How can you not like this? It's basically his voice actor, David Kaye. One thing I don't pay much attention to is the Shattered Glass Optimus Prime. I'll go for any design that has this color scheme on it because it's just an evil Optimus Prime.
Deception Prime. Consider me impressed.
I guess the same applies for a Nemesis Prime, which may or may not get its own tier.
Optimus Prime, I know you're not evil.
You are nothing!
Making the way onto the tier are the Mighty Mugs. Oh, look at the little dude, he thinks he's so tough. I like this one more because he has ears. Pulling more out of my ass are the Transformers Q Optimus Primes. I don't like the blocky one. Please don't shove these in your ass.
It is a bad idea.
Definitely not ass is the War Within Optimus Prime, the first real Cybertronian Optimus Prime. The entire chest area is just beautiful. Hasbro, Studio Series Comic Edition when? Getting deeper into the comics, we have the Chaos Theory Optimus Prime. Any Prime with smokestacks on his arms is pretty much a win at this point. I'm so glad that it finally got a toy in the Legacy United Fractured Friendship 2-pack. That was a bit of a tongue twister. Moving on to Hearts of Steel, and I gotta say there are some better Hearts of Steel designs, but this one is still good. I like it. I mean, it's Optimus Prime as a train. If you're a fan of trains, good, this is for you. What might not be for you are the G.I. Joe designs of Optimus Prime. I mean, I'm not a fan of these personally, they just don't do anything for me, they look really bland and boring looking. But I do actually like this third one. I believe it's based on the Hiss Tank, kinda reminds me of Beast Hunters / the Trans-Tech Optimus Prime. It just needs an Autobot insignia. Well played, G.I. Joe, well played. Also well played are the main IDW designs for Optimus Prime. The detail on these designs are just insane. I'm really surprised Hasbro hasn't made toys of these already. Now we have a double Pretender, which was cancelled but was brought back by the Collectors Club, and I do like the Optimus Prime. It reminds me of a young Armada. Yeah, I've just given the Pretenders a compliment. Had to happen eventually. Now moving on to toys, and one of my favourites is the classic Robots in Disguise Optimus Prime. I actually wish I owned this as a kid. I remember just looking at toy reviews non-stop of this guy, and one day I'll own it. It's just sort of a unified modern day Generation 1 Prime, and I just think it looks really cool. Definitely not cool, or modern, is the Infobar Optimus Prime. I guess cell service is the right of all sentient beings? Whatever, here's a lunar cruiser of Optimus Prime. Yeah, I mean, it looks alright.
It is not a bad idea.
I remember when my dad first got us a PlayStation and it transformed into Optimus Prime. I was so mad I couldn't play Crash Bandicoot. Have you ever wanted Prime as a power bank? At this rate they'll make anything Optimus Prime. Like a shoe.
Way to be incognito.
Question, can you actually wear this? Second, why would you wear this? Do you think someone made Peter Cullen sign this? Moving on to video games, we have one of my favourite Optimus Prime designs of all time. It is the High Moon Studios' War for Cybertron. I was over the moon when this design came back with the Studio Series Gamer Edition, and I think they nailed it. Well, for the most part, I had to get the upgrade kit, but still regardless, it's fantastic. This to me is the definitive Cybertronian mode of Optimus Prime. I know some people prefer Fall of Cybertron, but to me, this is top tier. Of course, as you're playing the game, you're always going to be seeing the back of a character, and I just loved his parts moving at the back with the Autobot insignia. Such a great attention to detail. It's also underneath his vehicle mode. Even though that's my favourite, I do like the Fall of Cybertron design. The mass is still the same, but it's shaped so differently. It was never explained why his design changed, but I can imagine it's just to make him more tougher. His armour looks more battle ready. Not only is he battle ready, but he's rock ready with the Knights of Unicron. Yeah, I absolutely hate this. It's way too loud.
Yeah! My audio receptors. What is that noise? Decrease volume. Shut up!
If you pre-ordered Fall of Cybertron, you could get a G1 Optimus Prime, and I really do like this. It kind of reminds me of the original Masterpiece toy. In Devastation, you could play as the G1 cartoon Optimus Prime, which is basically just G1, but it's in a game. Now let's talk about the video game that sadly didn't get the chance to shine. It is the Universe MMO. This is based on the Prime universe. You could say this design is basically just Transformers Prime, just tweaked ever so slightly. Yes, the stylization is there, but they've tweaked enough to make it stand out on its own. It's Transformers Prime Optimus, but a bit more edgy, if that makes sense. Like, he looks more aggressive, or even cyberpunky-like. Not so bad looking is the Earth Wars Optimus Prime. Yeah, it's alright. The vehicle mode stands out more than the robot mode. I do like the wheels on the arms, that's actually pretty cool. But yeah, that's it really. Now we're going to talk about the Combiner Wars Optimus Prime, where this design got highlighted in a couple of games and it did the design so much more justice than the original toy, because the toy to me just looks so flat looking. Like those arms, they just look like monkey arms. Forged to Fight looks pretty cool, but without a doubt the best one has got to be the Chinese online game. He looks like a badass now. Now we have a Transformers game that was unfortunately cancelled. It is the Heavy Metal game. We do have some concept art of what this Optimus Prime could have looked like. It's like the evergreen Optimus Prime design, but just jacked up, because if you look at this guy, he is heavy metal. Now this 3D model that you see was done by Kelsey Martin on ArtStation, just giving us a good idea of what this could have looked like if it didn't get cancelled. And it's a shame too, because I would have loved to have played it. A game I would also love to play is Transformers Reactivate, because Optimus Prime looks so awesome in this. This is post-apocalyptic Optimus Prime, where he's taking on, I don't know, Quintesson zombies or whatever it's going to throw at us. And what's so bizarre is that we've gotten the toy of this already, so we know what this character looks like. It's official, he's going to look like this in the game. I guess Hasbro was like, right, we can't wait any longer, we've got these toys ready to ship, so here you go guys. This is a neat design. A lot of people responded well to this toy, so it's like, where's the game? Come on, we want to play. What I don't want to play as is the Titanfall Optimus Prime. Yeah, remember when this happened? It literally looks like a toddler cosplaying as Optimus Prime.
He was mine.
Okay, now something better. We have the Overwatch Optimus Prime. This was fairly recent. This is a skin, so this is the Reinhardt Optimus Prime. I don't play Overwatch, guys, so I don't know. All I see is this cool looking design in both anime form and gameplay, even though the head reminds me more of Soundwave than Optimus Prime. I may not play Overwatch, but I do like its art style, and I think Transformers really works in this setting. What doesn't work is the Battle Masters Optimus Prime. At least with this one, you can tell it's supposed to be Optimus Prime. Now let's talk about the Angry Birds one, which is 10 times better.
Impossible.
Yeah, I just complimented Angry Birds.
Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
Yeah, you may have noticed if you've been watching my previous videos that I've been slowly coming around to the Angry Bird designs. I have a fresh perspective on it. While I still find the combination really jarring, it is in some ways very appealing. You've just got to sit back, relax, and don't take life so seriously, and have fun. And that's what this guy seems to be doing. He just seems to be having fun. Yes, it's just Prime's body with a bird for a face, but heck, it's entertaining. Yes, I guess this is my redemption arc.
Perfect.
Now let's move on to the Align continuity, and we'll talk about the first initial design idea for Optimus Prime. This is designed by Ken Christensen, and this is my favourite Optimus Prime design of all time. I'm so gutted we never got to see this in like animation form or anything like that, because it's got elements from previous Primes that I think just works all as one. The feet and the proportions give me Armada Optimus Prime vibes, and I love the wheels integrated on top of his chest. I like his vehicle mode as well, of course very similar to the eventual Transformers Prime design. Yeah, I just love this so much. I hope that someday, we can get a design similar to this in a cartoon. But I'm not going to argue with the Optimus Prime that we got in Transformers Prime, because I love this art style, like the way how it's stylized, the proportions, it's so cool.
Where's Optimus?
On a scouting mission with Bumblebee. Sorry to disappoint.
And I wore heels and everything.
Mom!
For every generation, there's an Optimus Prime that you grew up with, and while I grew up with Armada, a little bit of Energon and Cybertron Optimus Prime, if Transformers Animated got me back into the franchise, Transformers Prime is the reason that I stayed. I remember seeking out that first edition Optimus Prime because I just was so impressed with this. A toy I wouldn't seek out is the McDonald's Optimus Prime. Poor guy. Prime received one hell of an upgrade in Season 3's Beast Hunters with this new robust form. I've seen a lot of people criticize this design, but for me personally, I really dig this. This would begin the arc of him just looking massive all the time. Good luck trying to get rid of those stains off your face, Prime. I'm sorry guys, but most of the time, I like him big and chunky. This version, however, was ruined when it came to the official toy. I owned this and I was always confused why it didn't look more like the show, until I found out that this toy was spot on to how it looked in the Japanese series, Transformers Go. So I'm not quite sure what happened behind the scenes. Regardless, the version in Transformers Prime is superior. And while we're on the subject of Transformers Go, we'll talk about his second form, the Optimus X Prime, where he transforms into a train and a dragon. So yeah, we've got a triple change Optimus Prime, which is a neat concept, But this fell flat for me. I don't like this. I don't really know why he's turning into a train. The dragon part is kinda cool, but this falls flat for me. Yeah, I really don't like this toy. We did get to see a few Cybertronian modes of this Optimus Prime, 1 official and 2 concept ideas. I like the concept ideas more than the final version, but if I had to pick, I'd go with concept 1. Moving on to the sequel series, Robots in Disguise, Optimus Prime has a lot of designs in this show. I favour his Season 1 design. Yes, I know his legs are absolutely enormous, but I always wanted the Takara Adventure Optimus Prime toy that's like a leader class. It's a shame it never made its way to the Western market. They even made a toy in his Supreme mode where he got upgraded by the Primes, and it's okay, I do like the black and white combination, but his shoulders are so friggin' huge. It looks like he struggles to move around more than he did with his Beast Hunters mode. Towards the end of the series, they got rid of the black and white colour scheme, and you know what, I'm kind of missing it to be honest. Something about the design now feels empty.
Autobots, roll!
What also feels empty is his Power Surge mode, where he upgrades with a Minicon, and it's fine, it served its purpose in the show, but this feels so gimmicky, where you miss the days of the Unicron trilogy. Accompanied with the RID line are Tiny Titans, just little tiny figures with a bio card of a G1 style Transformer, and we've got one of Optimus Prime, and yeah, it looks nice. I mean, I wouldn't have liked to have seen this in the show, and it's fine. It reminds me of an adult version of the Rescue Bots Optimus Prime, which serves its purpose as a junior version. He's harmless, he's just trying to educate young kids. I can't imagine anyone being mad at this design, but I can imagine people being mad that he transformed into a T-Rex. He just wanted to know what it'd be like being Grimlock.
Is that cool?
No, Prime, it's not cool. You've upset the fandom again. But hey, I'll take this over the Play School Optimus Prime any day. The same can be said for the Rescue Bots Academy Optimus Prime. It's basically Cyberverse until you get to the head. Oh my god, where's his eyebrows?
Take off his head.
I don't want kids growing up thinking Optimus Prime doesn't have eyebrows. Okay, he didn't to begin with, but at least it wasn't jarring. Definitely jarring is the bare brick Optimus Prime. Please, someone shoot it. Not only does he transform into a truck, but he also transforms into a pen. Is this video done yet? No, because we have to talk about the USB Optimus Prime. Insert wisdom into your computer. Definitely no wisdom is the Constructor Bots Optimus Prime. I've actually complimented a couple of these, but this Optimus Prime one, I just don't like. It looks so ugly looking.
Not cool.
Not so ugly looking are the Creo Optimus Primes.
Let's go get him! Bumblebee! No!
The basic one is fine, but the one where it looks like puberty stopped, yeah, that's bad.
I'm gonna tear them apart.
Not that bad though is the fully buildable one, which I actually really like this one. It's like the Movieverse, but just like cleaner looking. I guess it's more impressive than appealing. But many years later, LEGO would do a G1 version where, yeah, okay, this is exactly what fans wanted. What fans definitely don't want are these guys. Yeah, just crush them with your foot.
Oops, sorry, my bad.
Add these two maggots to the list as well.
I can think of no better place to bury you.
Now let's move on to the live action movies with Bayverse Optimus Prime.
You a-holes are in trouble now. Gentlemen, I want to introduce you to my friend, Optimus Prime.
Look, I am an avid defender of this Optimus Prime. I'm a fan of the Flames. I think it works for Michael Bay, and I think it works for the live action movies. Yes, I can imagine how jarring it must have been in 2007 to see Optimus Prime like this, but the early concepts were really, really bad. This is definitely what the franchise needed in 2007, and I don't think some fans realise that. And yes, there's a lot of subject matter to talk about, like the toes, for example. I know people aren't a big fan of those. The head design is just absolutely gorgeous. The amount of detail that has been put into this Optimus Prime. Whether you love him or you hate him, you can't deny that he defined a generation. And still, to this day, the Revenge of the Fallen Leader class Optimus Prime is one of my favourite toys of all time. And the rib cages that were added in Dark of the Moon was also a nice touch. I'll include it because I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of them. Yeah, we'll briefly mention the Protoform version, which is just ugly looking, this exoskeleton. It serves its purpose in the movie, but they still could have done something really creative with this. Bayverse got himself a couple of upgrades. He got the dead body of Jetfire slathered all over him. I mean, it's badass, it's cool in the film, you know, it just brought me back to the days of Armada. Granted, I just kind of wish Jetfire was alive, but still, he looks so cool, and his head is so tiny. If you thought Beast Hunters was bad, have you seen this? Now, there were other ideas for an upgraded Optimus Prime, and yeah, I prefer the Jetfire combination. This just looks so cluttered, so muddled, I hate it. They toned it down and made it just right when it came to Jetwing Optimus Prime in Dark of the Moon. What a great way to incorporate the trailer. Bayverse Prime briefly went G1 as this dirty truck, and honestly I was so disappointed when I saw this because his robot mode should be different. It's basically just how he was originally, but with a different chest. Except from the chest, it makes no sense for his vehicle mode, and we spent quite a lot of time with this design as well, so they could have done something different. It's just a simple case of they couldn't be arsed. But talking about his upgraded mode in Age of Extinction, and it's all boobies. Okay, I know a lot of people don't like this design, and I have definitely criticized this design in the past, and while I still, to this day, don't like the fact that there are just not enough vehicle parts on this design, it still looks cool. Like, it is cool, but as a transforming robot, it's just, that's what takes me out of it. I wouldn't change all that much, I would just redesign it just a little bit.
We're not your technology!
You know, I do like the way it's styled, I do like the proportions, I think it is badass, especially when you see it in action in the film, but it's like, we only saw him transform once. You fool! And the only time we saw him transform from robot to vehicle was in a commercial for Direct Line.
Go on a road trip. Road trip?
And even that cut away before you saw the full transformation. He was only in his vehicle mode once in The Last Night. Just like a reminder like, oh, this guy transforms by the way. Only third parties have been able to figure out how to make this look screen accurate. I mean, we're still waiting on Hasbro, like, come on, where's that studio series? See, the thing is, I am a fan of Medieval Knights, like, I am into that, but I just don't think it belongs in the world of Transformers. So, I'm sorry guys, I just don't think it belongs in the top tier.
Autobots, I have sworn to never kill humans. Big mistake. He's going to die.
But whatever Cam, stop complaining. We finally got the Optimus Prime, at least what I wanted, in the Bumblebee movie. That Cybertron scene is one of my favourite sequences in the entire live action movies. And seeing G1 fully realised, modernised in a live action setting, see, it can be done. And this was done with such justice. It remains one of my favourite live action movie designs, period. There is a little gripe with it where it literally looks like an Earth truck, you know, and it's supposed to be Cybertronian. Like, oh, those shoulders and wheels are going to make a huge difference. Yeah, I'm going to unify both the Earth mode and Cybertronian mode because honestly, it's the same thing, just slightly altered. Sometimes as Transformers fans, we just have to pluck out the logic out of our brain and just enjoy it. But a design a lot of people didn't enjoy is the Rise of Beast Optimus Prime.
You brought a human here?
And look, I can understand the criticism. A lot of colour was taken away with this Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime. It's like the love child of the first Bayverse design with the Bumblebee design. And I just think it looks fine. Like, it looks okay. You know, I'm glad we've got this. I own the Yellow Park, so I am a fan of this. I'm glad that we got G1. You know, it's set in the 90s, so you know, he's still able to have that truck mode. I do wish there was a lot of colour on his torso, especially his hands. Like, I just wish they were blue. Like, come on, why does he not have blue hands anymore? But it's just a gripe, and that's all it is. It's fine, it served its purpose, it looked cool in the film. Okay, do I have to talk about Fortnite? Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime? That's all it is, it's just Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime, but it looks like a dude's just got a really good costume on. I mean, my sister worked hard to get this unlocked for me just to play it for a couple of hours, so it's worth a mention. But I'm hoping with the sequel, the Transformers and G.I. Joe movie, they take the concept designs for Rise of the Beast and make them part of this film. Like, look at this concept art here. Look how buff and bulky Optimus Prime is. This is what fans were expecting, something different. And we actually got a toy of this as well, so this was almost close to being the Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime, but it was just changed last minute, I assume. But regardless, this looks cool. This is something I want to see. I want a bit more robustness to my Optimus Prime. Just don't overdo it. One of the main concept artists for Bayverse was Josh Nizzi, and he came up with several different ideas of a live-action Optimus Prime. And these are just incredible. It's really hard to pick which one you like to see in the movies. I'd just like to see all of them in the movies. He came up with more jacked up versions of Optimus Prime, with the superior Optimus Prime looking so dope. And then we have his Power Master Optimus Prime, which puts Jet Optimus to shame. And we've got more statues on the way, with premium collectibles just basically taking Bumblebee Optimus and just injecting him with some steroids. A lot more cleaner of a design, and actually something I'd like to see in the movies at some point. But that's a problem with us Transformers fans, we're just too greedy. Now let's talk about the Evergreen and Cyberverse design. We briefly talked about this with Rescue Bots Academy. Those proportions were so crazy here, but these are just right. This is Hasbro's sort of like standard design of Optimus Prime. You see this a lot in marketing and promotional stuff. But yeah, I like it, it's cool. He's also got some sweet moves. During the fight with Megatron, he got a massive upgrade with the power of the Allspark, and yeah, it's all a gimmick to sell toys, but for this, it felt out of place in Cyberverse. I almost forgot to include it because it was just forgettable. It's not quite as forgettable as the 2015 BotCon General Optimus Prime. This is inspired from the cancelled toy from the Generation 2 line. It's a redeco of Decepticon Auto Roller. It was in a promotional catalogue, but never saw the light of day. Just giving justice to a toy that I don't think anybody wanted anyway. Another toy I don't think anybody wanted was the Titans Return Optimus Prime. Yeah, this also got a redeco in the Street Fighter 2 colours. I kind of prefer the Ryu colours a little bit better. He's a jet and a truck, another triple change Optimus Prime, but this sucks.
This is a waste of time.
One of the greatest mysteries is why the bump of Chicken Optimus Prime exists. It was featured in the 40th anniversary special movie by Trigger. Yeah, Prime, stay away from the M&Ms. Moving on to Netflix's War for Cybertron trilogy, we have this Cybertronian mode in Siege, and I'm just not vibing with this, guys. I mean, for me, we've just had so many unique Cybertronian modes. When you compare it to this, it's just not good enough for me. You can tell it's just the G1 mode, but just with extra parts on it to make it look alien. I'm not a fan of his backpack or his arms.
Now, tell me you forgive me.
Some could argue and say that the Earthrise Optimus Prime is superior, and you'd be right because it's just G1 Prime but modernized. I got more excited when it came to the homage to the Cybertron Optimus. Like, why wasn't this his Cybertronian mode? It just would have been perfect. I get why he was made just to pay homage to Cybertron, but still. If you want big and bulky, look no further than the League of Steel Optimus Prime. If you own this, do let us know in the comments. Then question yourself why you own this.
You have disgraced it.
The same goes for the Go-Kart Optimus Prime. When scanning in alt mode goes terribly wrong.
No!
At least he got it right when it came to the Earthspark Optimus Prime, right?
Laugh, then cool pose. Oh. Ha ha ha!
Okay, I have a love-hate relationship with this design. When I first saw it, I was completely taken aback by it. I was like, wow, this looks kind of jarring. Those rib cages.
You humans have a saying. When life gives you lemonade, make lemons. Point is,
I always thought my issue was just the ghost insignia, but then as soon as you got rid of that, it was like, okay, I still have some issues with it. It's still strange that I was one of the first people to showcase this design when I saw it on the wall in my local toy store. I gotta say, his vehicle mode took some getting used to. And yes, his face can sometimes be nightmare fuel, but he's also funny.
this is Robbie and Mo. Stand down, Mr.
Mandroid!
Mr. Mandroid. That's not my...
What made me like this design over time was actually seeing it in action. I think it's just based on certain angles and just the way how it's animated. But hey, at least you can have him on your finger. Ugh.
I find it best to simply nod and mobilize.
Or you can have him on your wrist. Yeah, Optimus Prime, please tell me the time. They made a whole trailer for this.
I should have known better than to rely on humans.
Okay, we need something good. We have the Flame Toys Optimus Prime. These look cool. Yeah, I don't care if they don't transform. It's so anime-like. I love it. Before we talk about Orion Pax and Transformers 1, let's look back at the previous Orion Pax designs. And you really can't get an Orion Pax design wrong. The only one that I don't really like is perhaps the Titans Return one, mostly because that's a remold of Cup. But everyone else looks pretty cool, like Transformers Prime Orion Pax looks really nice. You know, the more modernized, revised versions of Orion Pax are really cool. I liked how it looked in Generation 1, you know. Like I said, you can't get an Orion Pax design wrong, unless if you're Titans Return.
Yesterday's model, ready for the scrap heap.
Now let's talk about Orion Pax in Transformers 1. We'll start off in his cogless state, which we see him for a majority of the film. It's fine, it serves its purpose, it's supposed to show this emptiness about the character, still wanting more from life, and I think the design really captures that very well, especially his face, a very young Prime. But when he does get his cog, he transforms into a great design, this really does show the development of his character. But he does have a third mode which completes that character arc when he bears the matrix of leadership. We've seen this in a couple of trailers. It looks so nice, so cool. Honestly, as someone who has seen the film, it's just so epic when he finally gets to this final form where he is Optimus Prime. It's so breathtaking. If you haven't already, go watch Transformers 1. It's such a great film. This moment in particular is just epic. I do like that the MDLX have given you the option to switch, between his second and third form. And when it comes to his vehicle mode as well, it's a great Cybertronian mode. This is what I want. This is a Cybertronian mode that actually looks like it came from a different planet. This Optimus Prime design is just peak. And now finally, for our last Optimus Prime design, that definitely came from a different planet.
You're not gonna believe this.
No! Don't come near me, you monster!
It is the Peugeot Optimus. Yes, this is an officially licensed figure. I'm sure there's a lot of you that's feeling pretty confused right about now.
My curiosity is aroused.
I'm not. I hate it. What did you expect? And there we have it, guys. Every Optimus Prime design ranked from worst to best. And I am exhausted. If I had to go for a favourite, I guess High Moon's War for Cybertron or the Covenant of Primus. But I like all the Primes in the top row. But let me know your favourite Optimus Prime design in the comment section below. Sorry I didn't get this video out sooner, it took a long time to make, plus I just wanted to time it right with Transformers 1. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And while I don't plan on abandoning the ranking videos, just expect them to take a back seat because I've got other videos lined up that I think you'll enjoy a lot more. It's going to be crazy, you're going to be getting a lot of videos from me, and I do plan on updating other characters in the future, so let me know which ones in the comment section below I should do first, and until then guys, I've been Comodin Cam, and goodbye.
Until all are one.
Highlight of orientation, right?